We are live also on the KSR YouTube channel, and it's KSR Takeover Tuesday. We're bringing that back this week. Adam Luckett batting leadoff for us here today. He was the story, Trevor. He was the big story coming out of Tampa with his question to Will Stein.
Oh, he came at him like Howard Cosell. He was like, let me talk to you a second, Mr. Stein. What makes you think you're so special? Why do you think you can win at Kentucky and no one else has? And he
first time in my life, Stephen Peak, I've been comped to Howard Cosell. So I will take it. I will take that. But definitely
I'm
was a
wearing
weird
the All-E t-shirt too, so it works.
It was definitely weird on I guess it was Tuesday. My For You tab on Twitter was all videos of me from every account you could think of. CBS Sports, ESPN, Bussin' with the Boys, Rich Eisen show. My ugly mug was everywhere there for a day or two on all the big shouty shows. So that was definitely unexpected. Did not expect that.
I mean, but what an answer. What are your initial thoughts on that? On the because of me?
I thought he would give an answer similar to that. Maybe not as definitive, but I think that's why Will Stein got this job. Obviously the connections and all of that, we all play that up and it's easy to talk about. But the real reason he got this job was, I think, number one, he's high-end offensive coordinator at a big-time program that's competing for national championships. So obviously that's going to be someone Kentucky looks at. But at the end of the day, I think what kind of separated him is him. Just his personality, his beliefs, where he's coming from, and just his belief, his process. He thoroughly, I think, believes in, and he has zero doubt. Peak, I've said this before. This is a guy who started games in the Big East, who was a 7 or 8 quarterback. Of course, he has a chip on his shoulder, right? This was a guy who sat at Trinity, right? Waited his time, and then went and broke every record Brian Brom, Jeff Brom, Nick Petrino, all the guys before him set. So obviously this guy has some type of stuff to him, right? You don't get to those points without having that. You don't go to Texas as a kid from Louisville and thrive as a football coach. That's just not something you see. So obviously he has this big belief in him. And I think it was good because we've got to hear that locally. And I think people that know, at least the people I talk to that kind of know Will, are not really surprised by the demeanor we're seeing, I guess is the best way to put it. But we've gotten that locally when we've, talked to him, follow him. That I think that was really the first moment for him where he could show college football nation at large. Because that was really his introduction, I thought, to the whole league.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people across the nation who just found out who Will Stein was by your question. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, the easy comp was the Kurt Signetti. I think there are 8 to 10 national columns or maybe even more let's say podcasts, topics or a whole segment on national podcasts that they were talking about Will Stein and Kurt Signetti. The because of me was the Google me, right? And so one way or the other, we're going to be seeing that clip for a long time. We're going to be talking about it for a long time. So, and it was a total opposite, and we've talked about this. I'm sure you've talked about this on this show.
That was actually the next thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Comparing it to last year, I mean, it is cold and hot, right?
Yeah.
It is north and south. It is as opposite as you can get.
Luckett, I used to get so bored at some Mark Stoops press conferences. I'm not going to lie. I would zone out. I mean, it was monotone. Especially later on in the season, last couple of years. But it felt like, and you guys talked about this all the time on 11 Personnel, just trying their best not to create any headlines. And it just makes for a lot of boring press conferences. Will Stein, I don't think, is going to be boring, at least not for a little while.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see just what the flow and what the tenor is from him. Once we get into a season, right? Some of that stuff can change. But, right now, I think he's introducing himself really, Pete, because he didn't really talk at Oregon. Like if you like when before the hire, if you went into YouTube and put Will Stein, like you're not seeing you're seeing a couple chalk talks, like when he was at the Texas high school coaches convention. You're seeing the video Peak sent me of Trinity's comeback against St. X in the state championship game. That was up there, but you're not really seeing. You weren't really seeing him out there kind of just selling himself. There's a couple videos or some stuff with Dan Casey, who came to UK to do a big documentary on him, but you're not seeing a ton of that. So this has been kind of his introduction. And so for him, I think he's kind of I would say the new age of college football. I think we saw that a lot at SEC Media Days. Guys not afraid to be outspoken, guys who understand like the importance of social media, being on social media, talking to your players, all of that. I think Will understands that and also understands just what college football is now with the portal, with high school recruiting, with NIL, all of that. I think you're seeing that with him so far and just really trying to sell and market himself. Because let's face it, Kentucky as a program, as a brand, Kentucky football, they needed a huge shot in the arm after the last couple of years. They just needed some energy, and they need to try to stand out as best they can. And I think they're doing that with him right now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, how many recruits have saw that video? How many recruits' families have seen that video and are like, that's my coach. I want to play for somebody like that. I mean, Lucky, you played the game.
Yeah.
Just having a coach with that kind of mentality, is that somebody you want to play for?
Yeah, I just think, like, just flip it on its head. Like, we went from this stuff's hard radio version,
right,
to because of me. Like, some of that, like, just bravado and swagger, for lack of a better word, that this program just needed. And, yeah, that helps in recruiting, no doubt about it. Winning helps the most. Money, but then winning's probably second, or winning's up there with money. Like, you've got to have the resources available, especially in this day and age. But like that, all that stuff helps. You got to stick out from the pack in some way, specifically at a school like Kentucky. I just don't think you can do what like Lane Kiffin and Kalen DeBoer did at Media Days, like, which is basically be pretty boring, intentionally boring at those events. You can't really do that at Kentucky, specifically when you haven't really won anything yet. And so Will's trying to stand out a little bit, and I think he's done that in really a good way. And he's totally, I think, aced the offseason Peak. Obviously, they're not playing games, so it's easy to do. But, like, he's really tapped into what I think the fan base, the pulse of the fan base, what they have wanted, and really delivered that from the jump. I mean, we see something as simple as him, like, getting in front of a camera and just saying, oh, we're going to do our blackout on this day. We're going to, everyone wear blue at this game. We're gonna honor our servicemen, the game, like honor the military, have the military appreciation day. Mm-hmm. Like, that seems so simple, but that is not something that was done previously.
And that came out about a month ago. So that's like a lot of times we were trying to do whiteouts or trying to do stripe outs, whatever, but it was being announced like on a Wednesday or Thursday before the game. So it does give people limited time to prepare for something like that. I do like that that has been thought out well before the season kicks off.
Yeah, and didn't they say they're going to have like a alternate jersey game or something?
Yes.
I think.
Yes, they are.
So you're just oh, there's going to be something here. That's something that wasn't really done, and I think we're seeing, them trying to change the brand a little bit and put his own kind of spin, and his own flavor with it. And so it's exciting time. Everyone's optimistic, Peak, and I think leaning that optimism is not a bad idea if you're Stein. Like, right, everyone's hungry. Everyone, like, the fan base is really excited, and to just throw some gasoline on that fan base excitement, I think, has got people really hopeful. And that's honestly, it's just what you want to hear from your coach. Like, you want your coach to think that he can win big at Kentucky, right?
I've never heard a coach really talk like that. I mean, Stoops a little bit at the beginning, but nothing with that kind of confidence. Stoops we're just getting started, bro, and after that South Carolina win, and it was like we're getting back to going to bowl games was kind of the big picture with Mark Stoops, but with Will and the way that he's come out swinging, I mean, Kentucky fans are believing like, well, if Indiana did it, our coach thinks we can do it. Let's go do it.
That's the conversation everyone's having at the gas station, at the grocery store, at Roosters, when you're sitting up there having a cold beer every once in a while, at your neighborhood bar, wherever you congregate with friends and family. Everyone's had that conversation. Everyone has had a conversation, even with maybe the person in your life that's not super into sports, but they know Indiana stinks at football. And it's just like, what? How did this happen? Like, could that? Like, my mom is asking me that. Like, she's asking me, Indiana won it. Could Kentucky win it all? Like, that is the conversation you're having. And so we know that it's wide open. And so you get the right coach in here that you can really take off like a rocket ship, like where I don't think you could do that before. And in that setting peak that we were in last week, you know this because you're traveling around to all these places now. Mm-hmm. You know that there is a perception and narrative about Kentucky out there.
Yes.
People in this league talk to Kentucky people sometimes like we don't even know what a football is.
They
like,
definitely talk down to us.
A soccer ball. Yeah. So, like, that is out there. And that is the area you have to go recruit a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to go recruit these places where people, I'm not at large, a good chunk of them think like that. And so, when you're at Kentucky, you're always fighting against that narrative and perception all the time. Whether you're a fan or whether you're in the program, you're fighting against that all the time. And so, I think it's good for Will to, if it works here, you're going to remember that. And that's a thing that can change people's minds if it works that certain way. Now it could blow up in his face too, but that is a thing. It's a legitimate thing.
But I think even if he goes, I think worst case scenario is like 3-9. If he goes 3-9, as Conor O'Gara predicted he would, you still get to like, it's not a finished product or it's not, oh, that's your legacy right there. Well, it's not. He's saying that I believe he answered your question with because of me, we can compete for championships in the future. It doesn't have to happen this year. He can still keep pushing positivity and big picture program for what do you think? Like 3 years? Can you ride that for 3 years as long as people are seeing improvements? Like how fast does he have to deliver before he has to eat those words, I guess?
It's a different era.
Yeah.
So there's going to be less patience. Like the year zero and like the situation where Stoops, where he inherits just an awful roster and it takes a couple years to truly like flip it. Like that's over. It takes like maybe a year. Maybe you get a year. But like if Will is as good as the game he is talking, I just want to put this out there. If he is as good as the words we're hearing, he will not go 3-9 this year. Just point blank. If he is as good as he is talking right now, they are going to be good. If his quarterback track record continues, every quarterback he has coached since he became an offensive coordinator has been a awesome. Just you go look at the numbers, they're awesome. If he does that at Kentucky and gets quarterback play like that, they're not going 3-9. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't care how hard the schedule is, but he's got to back it up. Like, right? These are all just words at this point. But if he is all of that, we won't have to worry about that. If they do go 3-9, I think you would have to get a little worried, but they got to play the games first before we even get there. We got to see how that plays out. But that is, I understand why people on the outside are down on Kentucky because it just makes sense. All they've lost, new coach, all this stuff. But if Stein is as good as he says he is, and if the quarterback track record follows him, they're going to be salty this year. Let's just put it that way.
Adam, we were in Lexington yesterday. There was a couple things came out of that. Will mentioned the offensive line. CBS has, as I mentioned yesterday on the show, and Tom Leach mentioned in the interview with Will, that Kentucky is ranked, they have the third best offensive line, according to CBS. Do you think it could actually be that good? Like top 3 in the country? That's crazy. Was that what it was? Was it top 3 in the country or SEC?
That was one writer at CBS Sports who ranked the top 10 in the country, and he put Kentucky at 3.
That's wild, right?
I think that's aggressive.
Okay.
But they spent a lot of money on this offensive line. They've got, I think, Colton Price got a chance to be one of the better centers in college football. Lance Hurd's kind of interesting because he's had highs and lows, but if he puts the highs together, he can be, I think, a first-round pick potentially. So they've got some guys there, but we're going to have to see the development. I think big thing. Obviously, Stein has seen it, right? They've had good offensive lines in Oregon, so he knows what a good offensive line looks like. So those are strong words. And he brought a guy that might just be just like awesome. I mean, this Cutter Leftwich is a 27, 28-year-old offensive line coach in the SEC. My guess is he didn't luck into that. I think there's some real stuff with him. And that's what I'm most interested to find out, because we're going to find out, is Leftwich just awesome? Is he just the truth as an offensive line coach? I think that might be the case. And so, we're going to have to wait and see with that. You never know. But I think they're banking a lot on that, and I think there's a lot of belief in Cutter Leftwich and what he can do. I think Will Stein has a lot of faith in him, and they feel good about that position there. Now, do I expect it to be a top 10 offensive line, Joe Moore Award finalist? No. But I do expect it to be a good unit for them. And I don't think we're going to – my thing with offensive line play, I think what fans want to know is they want to know just the basis. Am I going to watch this team play on Saturdays, and am I going to notice that our offensive line just stinks? We can't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to notice that with this team. I also don't think you're going to notice there were times, I think, when Kentucky played when they had it rolling on the offensive line where they were just – mowing dudes down. You realize, oh my God.
Part of why Lynn Bowden worked, right?
Right. I don't think you're going to have that either. So I think it's going to kind of be somewhere in the middle, but I do think it's going to be an offensive line that is solid to good. Let's just put it that way.
I'm excited to watch a good offensive line again. I loved when we had the Big Blue Wall as our identity. Be awesome to bring that back. The other thing from yesterday, though, was the new renovations. We got some seats now in the upper deck, new scoreboard graphics. I'm not going to recognize Kroger Field this year, Adam.
I think also this is some of this is Stein putting his kind of stamp on the program. Grove Street might be out. They're gonna. I think Stein has talked about how they maybe will change up how the team gets ready.
We need a Kentucky song, Adam. We gotta find some song that is made by somebody from Kentucky, just something that works. Is it watching I haven't been to a Florida football game, but watching what they did with basketball, and then watching other schools. I hope Will Stein finds something out there that can bring the same energy as Grove Street and be a tradition. It won't be organic. But yes, to your point, I'm loving that Will is at least thinking about all of this stuff.
What about the Judds?
The Judds have a banner hanging up in Rupp Arena. I don't know why.
Okay, we can get them a football song. Maybe Ashley will show up again.
Let's Tyler Childers, if you're watching, I know you're a big KRC listener. Get out there. JD Shelburne, come on. You're a big Kentucky fan. Let's make a Kentucky anthem. But yeah, to your point, Adam, I'm just. It feels like all this change. It feels like it's not a coincidence that we're going through all this change and renovation. I have to think that Will has some say in this.
Yeah, I would say so. Now, some of these renovations happened before.
Right.
I think he got here. I think Mitch announced that at one of the Champions Blue meetings that they were upgrading seats, putting seat backs in, going to do another upgrade to the video board, and so they're changing the beer sales this year. Remember, I think they lowered beer prices.
That's right. Yeah,
they're doing something. So they're changing things up a little bit, and I know the tailgating and parking's changed too. That I know people aren't super happy about. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a new vibe. And even at the spring game, Peak, for the people that went there, it was a different presentation, I will say. And I was watching it from the box where I can't really hear anything, but they had an in-game host, they had a DJ playing music. I would say it was a lot more energy, upbeat, and you could tell they spent, I think, more time planning how they were going to present that to the fans in the building. And so I think you're going to see that obviously play out when we get to when the games start. And obviously that big one week too. I wouldn't be surprised if they have some tricks up their sleeve to try to get the fan base engaged and really into that game.
Well, Lucky, before I let you go, I got to get your thoughts and your takes on tomorrow's big game in Lexington at historic Memorial Coliseum. I know you'll be camping out. I know you'll get there a couple hours before tip-off because you're so locked in. But Kentucky, Kansas for the Alumni Championship. Does it get any bigger than this?
Who's on the Kansas team?
Mario Chalmers. He actually got. Well, we don't know. I don't know what the rules are. If there's going to be like a Balogun situation here, but
I was waiting for you to blog about that. If Frank Mason or whoever it is, whatever Kansas point guard, is he the new Balogun?
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to let them play. They were down to 6 players last night. Both teams were, the Wichita State team in Kansas. But it started with Mario Chalmers, 40-year-old Mario Chalmers. I love this tournament. I'm sad there's only 5 games left. But I know you'll be watching. Do you think Kentucky's going to be able to pull this out? Are we going to get another TBT game on Sunday?
Okay, name some Kansas players, and then I'll give you my answer.
Okay,
Can you name some off the top of your head.
Off the top of my, the guy. No,
I saw Frank Mason. Frank Mason.
Okay.
They got a Mayo guy, not OJ.
Yeah, that guy was good.
Is that the kid that played at EKU? That Mayo, who wasn't he on the
Zeke
UK
Mayo? He was on.
Year? Oh no.
Okay,
that was a shooter they had a couple years ago.
Frank Mason III, Jamari Traylor, Billy Preston, Marcus Garrett, Jacob Hanna. He was good.
He got pushed.
Andrew Orr from Washburn. Tyshawn Taylor, Kevin Young.
Taylor, remember him? They got some guards on this team.
Didn't he play wide receiver for the Ravens?
Carlton Bragg Jr. and Darnell Jackson.
Darnell Jackson, I think he's a big.
Was Kevin Young on that? He wasn't on that 2012 team, was he?
I think he was. I think he was number 4. Wasn't he number 40?
Okay.
He was
he was. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I thought I recognized him. So, yeah, he was. He graduated in 2013. But, yeah, he played in 38 games in 2012. So, he might be out for some revenge for how losing to Kentucky in the national championship 14 years ago.
What I worry with the names you just reeled off, I'm like, okay, there's some like legitimate guards here without seeing them play as old men.
Wait, are we getting Quade?
Kentucky has needed Archie Goodwin to basically just score 30 points to win these games.
He's the best player in the tournament, though.
Like, is he like legitimately?
He might. I think he is. Yeah.
So, like, will he be able to get? How much do you think he has to score for Kentucky to win? For La Familia to win, excuse me.
26. I'd say 25. We'll just round down to 25.
I don't know. Getting there 3 games in a row feels tough.
He's Archie Goodwin. He's a bucket.
He was not a bucket his only year here. I can say that.
He's a bucket now, though.
The little I've watched, he is a man amongst boys out there, it seems like, especially in the open court.
I think what we're getting to is Adam wants to ask why does he think that the La Familia will win the TBT? And Archie will say, because of me.
Yes. That's it. I'm excited for it. Wednesday,
I think it'll be
7
close.
p.m.
I think it'll probably come down to the Elam ending, like it always does. And we'll see. I think Archie's going to have a good game, though, would be kind of my take.
Okay, so are you predicting a Kansas win?
I don't know. I can't do that. I'll say La Familia.
He's
the Kansas coach.
Get on board.
Kentucky might just have the big coaching advantage in all these games too. I mean, John Hood,
it's Sharon Collins,
Jackson over there.
Sharon Collins.
Sharon Collins is coach. Oh wow,
yeah.
Wow. They got some names over on that Kansas team.
It's gonna be fun to beat them. It's gonna be a good time. Luckett, I appreciate you. I'll see you on the internet maybe tomorrow.
See you
or
guys.
at the game. I'll probably see you at the game. I know Luckett's gonna be there. All right, we're gonna take a break. We come back.
I will be following. No doubt.
There you go.
Be at KS Board. Check me out at KS Board.
Yes, there you go. All right, we're gonna take a break. We come back. We'll talk to Tyler Thompson about some of the best Kentucky-Kansas games all time. You're listening to Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. All right, let's see something. Okay, so what's cool about this is If you're on the YouTube stream, you get to hang out with us during the breaks.
What's up?
How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing well. Looking up old box scores from Kentucky, Kansas.
Oh, you know what I'm going to lead with? I want to lead with that Did you see the clip of the All Ireland final from the Gaelic? I didn't know what Gaelic football was. Like, I'd heard of it.
Is it hurling?
No, I love hurling. Louisville City's coach wanted to play. Him and I used to talk about it because he's from Ireland, but we never got to Gaelic football. And this announcer, like the radio announcer, their version of Tom Leach, just loses his mind. And what's crazy is, and I know people who are watching the stream, they're going to have to hear this story twice, but in 1951, this team just won the championship. They're like one of the best teams. It's kind of like the Cubs curse. A priest cursed the team and said they would not win another championship until the last player from the 1951 team died. And they played in 11 straight championship games and lost all of them. Or not 11 straight, but 11 over the last however many years, 70-something years, 75 years. And lost all of them until yesterday. And it was their first title appearance since all the players on the 1951 team died.
So have you seen Widow's Bay?
No, I haven't.
That's just crazy that you just even brought that up, because the storyline, I'm not going to spoil it, but there is like a similar type of storyline about like a curse over this island. You would like it. It's good. But I thought you were trying to draw the comparison to that. I was like, that is a crazy coincidence. So.
Oh, no.
I was so pissed at Terrell Owens when he screwed over the Eagles. I put a voodoo curse on him. I don't know if it worked. I mean, he got stuck with Tony Romo, so I guess it did. But
yeah, Tony Romo's had a bad week.
I looked it up on the internet. I burned his jersey and put a voodoo curse on him. Then I gave his other jersey to Mike's girlfriend, which I thought was about as harsh as a voodoo curse.
I'm trying to remember, what was the score from halftime of Kentucky, Kansas in 2014?
2014 or 2012? Did y'all play them in 14?
We played them in 2014. That's when Kentucky was leading by like 40-7 or something at halftime. It was like a crazy number. That was the team that went 38-1. I know in 2012 they won.
Y'all play Kansas way too many times for a non-Kentucky fan to remember.
That's the truth. Like,
y'all play them way too much.
Champions Classic and the SEC Big 12 thing. It's just
I've disliked Kansas ever since I went to the tournament in 01. It was the game. I was at the game where Tayshaun scored the 41 on Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
I was there. I went there because Western played the game for me. We had extra tickets, but Kansas played the other game, and this guy next to me the entire game just spitting on me, raw chalk, ever since that day, I've just never liked Kansas. Well, I just really don't like that guy either. But that's what Kansas is.
I don't blame you. I
God,
can't find there's a famous
it was like
screenshot.
Stanford or something.
Yeah.
Peak, I'm gonna if you want to drop me off during the segment a little bit, I'm gonna sneak out and let but Ian oversee and make sure you stay on the air.
Yeah, I can go in.
Or you can just say that Trevor looked like he lost a lot of weight and added a mustache. Either or. About 15 seconds. Y'all don't get to hear my music today. I went all 80s.
Man.
You don't get to listen to Violent Femmes. Sorry.
Love Violent Femmes.
All right. I'll still wait for your signal, Trevor. Welcome back to Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. It's KSR Takeover Tuesday. Tyler Thompson now joins us here from Nashville. Tyler, I wanted to lead off this segment with, and I got to get it pulled up. So before I do that, how locked in have you been on the TBT?
Well, a lot more since our group chat has been going on about it. I found myself, I was a casual TBT fan. I would watch La Familia's games, of course, but I don't think before this year I ever would have just sat down and pulled it up on a Monday night. But I did last night, and it wasn't even the alumni game. It was the non-alumni side of the bracket.
Same.
And Steven, I feel like I have you to either thank or blame for this.
A little bit of both, probably.
Your passion has brought me into this tournament. That and it was a Monday night in late July. There's nothing really going on. I'm not into baseball, so... But I was locked in to watch the non-Auburn alumni team, which is somehow competing in the non-alumni bracket. I'm still not sure how that works. Watched the end of that game. Watched the beginning of the Aftershocks and JHX Hoops or whatever their name is. Watched through the first fight. And then at halftime, I was like, all right, I'm just going to go read my book, go to bed. Woke up this morning to about 1 million texts from you guys about it and just saw that the craziness of after that game, the fight.
Insane.
I mean, it's wild. It's hilarious. Like, I'm loving it. I'm so looking forward to tomorrow night. Bring it on.
I'm so pumped. And it's, I talked with Luckett about this. I know that the quality of basketball may not be the best all the time, but the Elam ending is awesome. I don't want it for any other basketball league or tournament. This is the perfect place for it, but it is what draws me to this tournament. There's only 5 games left, Tyler. There's 2 tonight.
You said that, and I was like, he knows that La Familia would only play in 2. Then I realized because
I'm watching it all.
You're a junkie. You're watching the whole thing. And I would argue that the fact the basketball is not good almost makes it better because you're seeing these guys
100%.
run up and down the court. And they're, one of the Wichita State guys, my goodness, he was going bald. He had a comb over. It was the white guy. I forget. I think it was number 34 or something. He was running up and down the court. I was so worried about his knees and his Achilles, but you know what? He's still out there living the dream in some in our world, at least. He's living Stephen Peake's dream, at least.
Sure is. This is I pulled this up on the KSR YouTube channel. For those listening right now, you won't be able to see it, but the emotions that we saw yesterday, well, it was crazy. I mean, you see, this woman gets knocked in the face right there, and she broke her nose.
Yeah.
This happened at the end of the game. I'm gonna be careful to try not to be in the middle of that if that happens tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, just, it's when you're playing for this prestigious trophy, there's so much on the line. Tempers are going to flare, emotions, they get to you. I understand it. I know it'll be a great atmosphere tomorrow in historic Memorial Coliseum. All right, here's something else I wanted to get to. Tyler, have you been to Ireland before?
I have. I went in 2025, our first time.
I thought so.
There's a direct flight from Nashville to Dublin now, so it's a much easier trip, and we loved it. We absolutely loved it. We were talking online about hurling, the Irish sport, and
yes.
I never got to see a hurling match, but I heard all about it. But you were telling me Gaelic football is also big.
I have only heard of it in passing, never looked up any highlights, never tried to understand what it is. So I see this clip come across Twitter yesterday, and I got the full context, but these announcers are losing their minds. This is the radio announce. I'm trying to find their names. Anyway, it's just the radio announcer for this team who for 75 years has been cursed. They were a very successful club in Gaelic football, and in 1951, they won the title, and a priest cursed the team and said that they would never win again until all 11 starters from the 1951 team died. And so from 1951 through 2023, this team, Mayo, played in 11 title games and lost every single one of them. That's like a whole other level of Four Falls of Buffalo. That's crazy. 11 straight championship losses. To be good enough to make it there 11 times but lose, it feels like a curse. And then all of the players, all of the starters from that 1951 team eventually died. So the next time that they show up in a title game, this is what happens. We'll send it over to the Mayo local radio call.
Go to the corner. Hold on to right into the rest of the ball. Right into the rest of the ball. We're 45 yards from the county goal. It's Colby. He's got Tommy Conrad. Tommy Conrad's in for a goal. He's got Colby. Yeah! Tommy Conrad. Oh my God. He sent it over the bar. Oh my God! Delirium!
They have to get a goal.
It's over. There's 30 seconds. There's 5 seconds to go.
Yeah, so let's go. It's on the play. Thank you, referee.
The famine! Yes! The famine is over! The famine is over! The Cosby Towns hit the nuclear button! Mayo have won the...
That is awesome.
Okay, so I love that they used the famine is over, curse be damned. That was so good. Hit the nuclear button. What a call. What an unbelievable call.
Well, the call was epic. I'm sure the post-game celebrations at pubs across Ireland was epic. It would be a bad day to be a pint of Guinness if you're a fan of that team. That's so cool. That's one thing I love about Ireland and kind of just like, you know, Great Britain and all the different United Kingdom countries. Like they get so into it and the tradition behind it and the folklore. I mean, we joke about some pro sports teams here in America that are cursed, you know, but that is just wild. I love it.
I mean, it's wild to me that there were shots in the stands and grown men are crying, sobbing over a sport I didn't know existed until I was watching the clip. Like, I didn't know any of these teams existed. Their whole lives are dedicated to this, much like they would not understand why I might be crying tears of joy on Sunday when La Familia wins the TBT championship. And we're going to go through some of the best Kentucky-Kansas games of all time because the alumni championship is on Wednesday. Do we call this winning a championship for La Familia if they win on Wednesday?
I hate that they're like making it the alumni bracket and then the whole championship.
It's like the conference championship in other sports.
Because, we're talking about tonight. Tonight could either be classified as the TBT semifinal or the final of the TBT alumni bracket. And it gets really confusing when you have to write about it. But yeah, I mean, hey, we'll take it. I'll take it. Any win over Kansas is a good one. I feel like we were talking with Trevor about this during the break. We played Kansas a lot in the past 15 years due to not only just the Champions Classic, but they were our Big 12 opponent in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. It felt like every single year. I went back and looked Big Blue history. Did you know that Kentucky is 2-6 versus Kansas since the 2014 game?
I did. That's only because I found that out 30 seconds ago when I pulled up the Big Blue history. But yeah, that's not good. Don't love that. Great.
So we're going to celebrate the heck out of a win tomorrow night. Another interesting fact from Big Blue history. One of the players on the Kansas alumni team, Frank Mason, is 2-1 against UK in his college career. So the lone win Kentucky had was in 2014, which was kind of one of the memorable. I feel like when you think about the 2014-15 team in the non-conference, you think about the UCLA game and you think about the Kansas game. So I think it's from the Kansas game, the great screenshot of you had the whole team lined up and they had their arms across each other. And then the score at the bottom was like 7-40 or something at some point. Like, it was just awesome. So we need more good beating Kansas memories.
Were you at that game?
No, I wasn't. I was watching from home. I was at Kentucky's last win over Kansas, which was at the Fog. It was in 2021 or 2022. It was season. That was with like Severe Wheeler, and like it was just really great environment. And the fact that I mentioned Severe Wheeler first is really weird, but I think it's because there was that clip that UK Sports Video put out, and it's of the team right before tip-off. And it was my first time going to the Fog and the Fieldhouse, Allen Fieldhouse. And the energy in that building was absolutely incredible at tip-off of that game. But you could see on Severe Wheeler's face, I think he mouthed something like, "I love this," or something. Kind of like a Steven Johnson moment against Louisville, if you will. And then Kentucky came out and ended up winning that game. And it was just one of the highlights of that season. So
they crushed them. Yeah. I mean,
it was awesome.
Severe had 8 assists in that game. I got the box score pulled up right now.
It's the Severe Wheeler game.
It really was. And, Keon kept flashing middle. I think that was the game where Kansas was in a zone, and they just kept having Keon Brooks take mid-range jumpers. He had 27 points, didn't make a 3.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. I got to watch that one with my grandfather. That was awesome. And I really thought, this game was January 29th, so we're getting to the last month of the season. And I think at that point, a lot of us were thinking this Kentucky team might be a Final Four, and they really should have been. I won't dwell on that too much anymore. I will.
I would like to say that you've moved past that, but I know you too well. So
no. Because that team really, I know there were some deficiencies, and people will say, well, you're never winning a title with Severe Wheeler at point guard. But I don't know. I mean, maybe they weren't winning a title, but when you look at how that bracket played out, they probably were going to play Duke in the Final Four. And that's just, maybe they don't win it. But man, Kentucky and Duke have just been set up to play each other for so many years in big games in the tournament, and it just hasn't happened. I can think of 4 different times off the top of my head that it should have, and it didn't. What's the earliest Kentucky-Kansas game that you remember watching? Is there one that sticks out?
Well, it's definitely not earliest, but the most famous is the 2012 national championship.
Right, yeah.
That was in my early KSR days. So I wasn't in New Orleans, unfortunately. I wasn't at the Superdome. I wasn't able to go. But I was at a bar in Nashville that was called Corner Bar. It was the place like the watch party bar. It's not even there anymore, unfortunately. But we had taken over the bar. There must have been 100 Kentucky fans there. And I was running the KSR live blog from the bar. So I was like trying to balance these two things. And it was freaking awesome. Like one of my really good friends from Nashville is a Kansas alum. So she was there with us. And even she was happy for us because, it had been a while. It had been since 1998 since Kentucky had won a title. And just everybody in there, it felt like such a cathartic moment. It was just it was so great. Like, I love that'll be my favorite Kentucky win over Kansas for sure. But for some reason, like 2014 felt really good because it was just solidifying how good that team was. Yeah. And then 2021, 22 was just kind of unexpected. And there have been some good ones over the years. So,
do you remember how confident you were in the 2012 game? Because I was trying to think. I don't remember feeling like that nervous. I kind of thought they were just going to go take care of business. Is that how you felt?
I kind of did too, because I had been at the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games the weekend before in Atlanta. I think it was Atlanta. My husband and I were able to go to those, and it was just that's when I feel like I got my nerves out because it was the Indiana game, and then I think it was Baylor. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I remember those games were so tense, and always when you beat Indiana, especially after they had beaten Kentucky earlier that season, that was kind of the moment I was like, all right, we got past that. So it's just that game, the national championship game, it kind of felt like, all right, Kentucky's better than Kansas. And they proved it. I mean, even though Anthony Davis struggled to score during that game, he did everything else. So, good memories. Yeah. We need to do more. Like, let's get back to the national championships.
I like that. I liked playing in championships. That was a lot of fun. I was way more nervous for that Louisville game than I was the Kansas game. It felt like once we got past that, and I was like, okay, that's a relief. Thank God.
That was the emotional peak of that for sure.
Yeah, and so then it just felt like we're gonna take care of business on Monday. And I didn't even watch the second game between Ohio State and Kansas because I didn't want to have a rooting interest. I didn't want to have, I didn't really want to pull for a team. Ohio State may have been tougher. Both of those teams were better than Louisville. And I was still thinking if Louisville were able to somehow pull this game out, then Louisville will probably win the national title just because it just felt fitting. And then it would have got taken away. So that it wouldn't have, it would have been a waste. The other game I remember this one's from my childhood. I think it was 1999. Was it Tubby's second year that I'm trying to get that pulled up to see if that's what it was.
Yeah, so 97,
Scott Padgett hit the three to tie it, I think, put it into overtime, and then 1999. I don't have very many memories of that game though, and I was pretty dialed in. I might have had a basketball game or something going on that I couldn't watch it, but I didn't realize Scott Padgett had 29 in that game.
Scott Padgett could go off, man. Everybody thinks about the big threes in the tournament, but he was capable of going off. Yeah, that was a good one. That's back when they played a lot it felt like in the actual NCAA tournament. Since then, it's just been Champions Classic and, SEC Big 12 Challenge. So
what has been like the biggest the biggest basketball school matchup Kentucky's had recently in the NCAA tournament. Am I blanking on one since Kansas? Louisville, I guess, in 2014.
Yeah.
I guess anything with UConn now, it would be considered that.
Now it would, but back then I don't think it would have. Like back in the 2013, 2014 season, I don't think don't think of UConn as like we do now. So
right. So what would be the last big time? Is that it? Would it have been
so. Yeah.
2014 Louisville? Because I mean, I don't even know. They're not obviously a blue blood, but as far as just that's a big matchup with the rivalry, and Louisville's. I like to think they're in the next tier below blue blood.
Yeah, they're in the B tier.
I'm fine to give them.
Are
that.
you going to follow social media for their game in the Bahamas today?
Oh yeah, because it's not going to be streamed anywhere, is it? And they're only playing one game on this trip, man.
Yeah, they canceled the second one. I guess because there weren't enough players to play, but also that kind of says something about fan interest, maybe. I don't know.
I wonder. Maybe they're trying to get more people to go. Maybe that was the point of taking it off the live stream. It's going to take away from the crowd who would travel
jet on
to
down to
the
Bahamas. Yeah, it's not a cheap trip, but it's a fun one.
That is hilarious. Trevor's not here, but I would ask him his opinion on it. Got to be a bummer for Louisville fans. We would be pretty upset, I think, if that's how it played out.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being upset they weren't broadcasting every game at Global Jam. So, but at least Tom Leach was doing the calls.
Right. When Kentucky went down there, like both Bahamas trips, all the games were on SEC Network. I mean, Calipari was running the SEC Network camera, if you remember in that first one. Yeah. So I'll never forget that screenshot. But it just kind of goes to show you, Louisville is probably going to be ranked higher than Kentucky going into this season. Pat Kelsey's got everybody excited. But still, when it comes to the pecking order, if Kentucky had gone to the Bahamas this summer and they were offered that deal, they looked into it. And if they had done it, all of their games would have been on SEC Network. But Louisville can't even scrounge enough money together to air it locally. So what does that tell you?
Why is it not being streamed? I mean, the ACC has their own streaming service. What is the ACC network going to have on at that time?
Probably anything but that.
It is weird because it's like a good top 10 basketball team playing a summer game. You would think that for a fairly large fan base when it comes to college basketball, there's really, I mean, Louisville's, what do you think, top 15 fan base? I mean, you
would think. Conspiracy theory, maybe Pat Kelsey knows they're not going to be very good. And so he said they were going to look into showing it and then really kind of told people privately, don't do that.
I could see a scenario where he really just wants this to be a closed door. We don't want anyone seeing tape on us. What tape are we going to see on you, Pat? You're just going to shoot 43s. I mean, you're just going to run the floor and first guy who gets open behind the arc is going to take the shot. Is there really anything more that we need to see from it? No, but they're going to be good. I've been still confident that Kentucky is going to win that game this year because, like I said, what's been going on since 2008? Let's see. George W. Bush was still president. We hadn't gotten to Obama yet. So it's been a long time is what I'm trying to say. Lehman Brothers was still around. It's been a long time since Louisville's won that game. So I'm going to take Kentucky in that one. You saw the schedule come out yesterday and the way that the SEC schedule is kind of soft to start out. I mean, is Kentucky going into February with less than 4 losses a crazy take? Because people said I was crazy yesterday when I said they could go. 4
total losses or 4 just,
4
overall?
Total losses. Going into February, they're let's see. I said anywhere between 19-1 and 17-3.
I think that if they're going to do what we want them to do this season, and that's compete in the SEC, make it to at least the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, they better not have more than 4 losses going into February because that's when things really, really get tough in the SEC. I mean, it's really interesting how they've kind of backloaded these conference schedules. Because so let's go through the schedule. So Kansas, the next game versus Kansas with the current teams is Champions Classic. So that'll be the Tyron Stokes game. That'll be huge. And a little worried about that one, but you never know. I mean, Kentucky's got a lot of veterans on the squad. Milan Momcilovic,
that's what I'm
best
hoping.
shooter. Yeah.
I'm hoping Kentucky's better on November 10th. They may not be better in March. May have to avoid them then, but I hope they're better on 11-10.
So you've got the Kansas game. Then about 10 days later, you've got Indiana and Indianapolis. I think that's probably a win. At Virginia, pretty worried about.
That's the one I have as a loss. Because
that feels like a very
game.
tricky game. It's on the road. UVA is actually pretty good. Louisville. And then a week after Louisville, you have North Carolina. So, yeah, I can see 3 losses. Yeah, you could make an argument for 4 if things really go badly. But
if they have 4 losses going before we put up our Christmas tree, like that's not
gonna be bad.
That's going to be a nightmare for all of us to have to deal with.
Right.
I'm not.
And then
I pray that doesn't happen.
I know. In January, I think the hardest game. Let's see. Vanderbilt. At least the first game is at Rupp. At Texas is probably definitely the most difficult, but that's right at the end of January, on January 30th. So it's not going to be boring. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I do see a scenario where Kentucky just rattles off the first 6 or 7 SEC games. And if you can continue to beat Louisville and Lexington, that as we've done since Billy Gillespie was the coach, and if you can, I'm betting on North Carolina not being all that good and Indiana not being all that good. And I mean, 19-1 is right there, Tyler. That's all I'm saying. And then what are you ranked second, third? Like, and even if you only have 3 losses, I mean, I need Kentucky to be relevant on the national stage for a lot of the season because we haven't really done that. Even in the years with Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd and that team that was fun to watch, even with the Jackson Robinson team that was fun to watch, Kentucky never was. They didn't stay up in the top 10 long enough, I think, to have like a national impact. You know what I mean? Like pulling in the people from Nevada to like tune into Kentucky basketball games and be like, oh, this team's really good this year, and they're playing North Carolina in Madison Square Garden. This is a big game. I want to have national relevancy for longer than just a couple spikes throughout the season.
Well, and another example is we just hit the 100 days till college basketball milestone. And in turn, all the national outlets, ESPN, CBS Sports, The Athletic, they put out content. We're 100 days away. Here's a preview of college basketball season. I always skim those because it's interesting to see what the national people are saying about Kentucky. Right now, if you go through those, outside of Milan Momcilovic being ranked as one of the top transfers and maybe Malachi Marino being mentioned as a potential breakout star, all anybody is talking about at the national level is Mark Pope and will he make it to a 4th year? I mean, that's it. It's just pressures on Pope.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Borzello, I think, said that he thinks that 3 blue blood jobs are going to be open next spring, enlisted 3 potential job or schools being Kentucky, Kansas, because Bill Self might retire, and Duke, but just because John Shire might go to the pros. So it's a lot of pressure, and it's not exactly, it feels like a long time since Kentucky's been relevant nationally, like you said, going back to before COVID. So it would be good to get back to the days where we could go through these articles and just have them praising Kentucky all over again and talking about a potential, winning the SEC and stuff like that. But right now, it just doesn't really feel like Kentucky's part of the conversation.
We'll get back to
even
it.
Though Pope, even though Pope did a pretty good job this offseason. I mean, after a late start.
Yeah, I like my team. We'll see how it all plays out. Tyler, I really appreciate you coming on and doing this.
Of course.
And we're going to take a break. We come back. Brandon Ramsey will join us here on KSR Takeover Tuesday. You're listening to Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio.
All right. Well, bye, guys. Bye, chat. See you later.
Thanks, Tyler. All right, guys. Brandon Ramsey will be joining us here in just a couple minutes, and he was at Peach Jam a couple weeks ago, and I want to talk to him about some of the stuff that he got from there, and then we're going to break down this schedule again. There's something Matt Jones said on KSR today that the guys were talking about that Brandon and I argue vociferously about. So we will do that for you all live probably get into it a little bit. Let's see, make sure he's got the link there. All right. While we're doing this, and I got to do the Game Day Men's Health text line at some point. Let's see. We'll go through some of the questions and some of the stuff we have in the YouTube comment section. Again, you guys get to see like behind the scenes. This is awesome. Okay. Now we wait Thursday to get out. That's true, Captain Crash. There will be another episode of KSR Happy Hour. Also, coming up later tonight, we will have an episode of Sources Say with Spencer Smith and everybody's favorite, Jack Pilgrim. So they're going to break down. They're actually doing a mailbag episode, and then they're going to go through 15th player options. I saw you guys in the chat talking about some of the guys that Kentucky is at least interested in, Keyshawn Hall. So Jack's going to break that down for you all today. And let's see. What about 2015? Pope does have a team. Let's see what this one is. Pope does have a team to make a big run in the tournament, but you have to go. Yeah, I think here's what I've like. You can lose in the round of 32, and I could be less upset than if you make a Sweet 16. And here's how. We got to have from start to finish a good season again. And I mean like earning 1 seeds. If Kentucky got up, I would rather Kentucky get upset by an 8 seed in the round of 32 than lose to a 3 seed in the Sweet 16 as a 7 seed because you had such an up and down year again. I want consistency. I want this team to be consistently good, as does Brandon Ramsey. Brandon.
What's up?
What's going on?
Not much, man.
Let's see. I'll wait for his signal down there when we come. So I know when we come back. I know you're locked into TBT, right?
I have been just absolutely glued to my television.
I figured.
And
Will you watch on Wednesday?
It's turning into MMA more than
it is
basketball.
must-watch television because these guys. What are they gonna have? What do they have to lose?
Right.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. I am. I'm all in. I'm excited for the game Wednesday, and I'm hoping I get to go back on Sunday. I'm hoping for more trips down 64 East and West. I'm actually rooting for it.
We're almost back in.
Okay. I'll just give me a thumbs up, and I'll get started.
I got you.
Cool. Thank you.
Might as well win it all at this point.
There's only one thing left to do. Go win the whole blank thing. Well, welcome back to Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. It's KSR Takeover Tuesday, and now up is Brandon Ramsey. We're also live on the KSR YouTube channel as well. If you want to check us out there, you can see Brandon's beautiful face right here. That's what I get to see at least. And we'll get to some of the text in the Game Day Men's Health text line as well. I'm saving a couple of them for Nick Roush, who's coming on, because there are heavy football questions. And actually, you know what? We got most of them being football questions. Brandon, we were talking during the break about TBT. On a scale of 1 to 10, how pumped are you for Wednesday's matchup, Kentucky-Kansas, a 2012 rematch? 1 through 10, Brandon, what is it?
So obviously, I am the resident TBT hater, and it's not true.
I don't know
hate.
if you're the only one. I don't know.
I mean,
but famously though.
I just have a hard time getting into it. I will admit I have watched none of it. I have kind of followed it. Like the fact that you're there, Mario's there, like that there's been good KSR content around it because as you always say, like it's basketball in July. I mean, what else is there to cheer for and get excited about? So like I've enjoyed following the content. And obviously now that Kentucky has started to win, like, I'm not going to promise that I'm even going to be glued to the television Wednesday night, but like, obviously I hope they win. I mean, I am excited for them to continue this journey. It's cool that the games continue to be played in Lexington. That's awesome. Just to, get Big Blue Nation excited about some hoops, get some people out and about. So, I mean, to answer your question honestly, like, I don't know, maybe a 7.
Hey, there we go.
Like I'm
Get
happy.
on board.
I'm happy it's happening. I'm happy they're winning. Am I going to be super invested in it? Probably not still, but more power to them.
Well, I'm excited. Wednesday, 7 p.m. What excuse do you have to not be there, guys? We need a packed crowd. Come on. This is awesome. Mario Chalmers is playing. He's 40 years old. This is great. This is the best tournament. Brandon, I watched a guy yesterday for Wichita catch a pass on the wing, a wide open spot up 3, and it must have went 5 feet left of the rim. It was the worst miss I'd ever seen. I didn't know it was possible. Honestly, I think like anybody I know could have gotten a closer shot than that. But that's the beauty of this tournament.
And then they decided to just fight each other, it looked like.
Yeah, and then they just start throwing haymakers. This is the best. I don't watch it because the basketball is great. I watch it because it isn't. That's the beauty of this thing. Although, I will say, Archie Goodwin is a baller. He can still hoop. He's doing it over in Europe, and he's doing it at TBT. He's going to pour in at least 25 tomorrow in a Kentucky victory. We can talk about real basketball. You want to talk about real basketball?
Let's do it.
All right, Brandon. You were at Peach Jam.
Yes.
First of all, how unique and different is that event from all the other things that you go and cover?
Yeah, I would say, I'm lucky enough I've gotten to be at most of these big shoe circuit events. Just this year, during the live periods, I was at one of the primary Puma live period events. I was at the main Adidas 3SSB Championship live period event and Peach Jam. And the thing about Peach Jam is that, all of the other circuits have really good players. But when you walk in and you're at Peach Jam, literally, like, almost every player you're looking at is going to be a Division I player. Whereas a lot of the other circuits, like, they might have 4 players in the top 50, even, a few players in the top 25, whatever. But then there's just such a stark drop-off to guys that'll play at all different levels of college basketball. There's Division III players in the gym. There's NAIA players in the gym. There's Division II players in the gym. When you go to Peach Jam, like, it's pretty much rosters full of Division I players. And that's true from the younger ages up through, and especially true 417U. And there's just kind of I hate to use a current, like, TikTok 12-year-old word, but, like, there's like an aura to Peach Jam that is very real. Like, it means a lot to the people involved. It means a lot to the parents. It means a lot to the people associated with these AAU programs. And then there's a bunch of, like, 11 to 14-year-old kids from Augusta, Georgia, that just take over the gym and run around like crazy people and love this stuff. And, like, because they follow these guys on Instagram, they follow them on TikTok. Like, it's hilarious where, like, there's like a random 12-year-old in the stands who probably knows as much about the players as me and Jack Pilgrim. Like, it's insane listening to these kids rattle off stuff like, oh yeah, we got to go watch the PSA Cardinals at 12:30 on court 4 because we need to see, Colton Hiller play.
Wow.
And it's like,
they're that
like, what are you guys talking about? Like, go chase girls around the mall or something. But, like, this is just like what they do once a year down in North Augusta, South Carolina / Augusta, Georgia. Is like, even the town, like, you can feel it. I mean, I remember going out to dinner the night before it started and, like, looking up at the TV and the local news is just talking about the Peach Jam. So, like, it really is a cool, almost like cultural event that is pretty unique and different even from the other major shoe circuit events.
And this one had a little bit of drama too. And one of the better runs in I'm too locked in on TBT. One of the better runs in Peach Jam history. Brandon, were you there for all of that?
So I left for the weekend. I went to Adidas Friday evening, Saturday, and Sunday, but Jack Pilgrim and Zach Gagan were there for the long haul. And so I got to kind of see the start of Caden Daughtry's run. And I've seen it throughout the summer. I was at session 3 when EYBL went to Kansas City. I believe Jack went down to session 2 in Memphis. So, like, we've kind of been following this throughout the summer. And those of us that have seen him in person recently aren't super shocked that this continued to happen through Peach Jam, but it really is. I mean, as somebody who's watched AJ Dibansa at Peach Jam and Cooper Flagg and Cameron Boozer and all these different guys, the truly big names, and Caden Daughtry isn't that, but in terms of his performance for a week in July at Peach Jam, it is one of the most impressive things that I've seen. This was the 30th anniversary of the Peach Jam, and talking to some people involved with Nike, involved with the event that have been around forever, like they were comparing this to the best of the best weeks a player has had at this event in those 30 years. I mean, what he does at his size, the volume of the scoring, the volume of the playmaking, and then his efficiency is still just off the charts. Like it really was sort of video game type performances that he was putting up throughout the week. Like you just don't normally see 6-foot guards score 30 points. And then it's like, oh, he was 11 of 13 from the field and also had 8 assists and no turnovers. Like that's what you do when your dad's letting you win on the PS5 and he's just doing this against the other best players in the country.
It's insane. Brandon, something that you and I have been discussing this morning has been the Kentucky schedule, just kind of shifting gears here. What are your thoughts on how this all looks right now? I think the schedule is pretty much finalized. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it? And how do you feel about how Kentucky can get things started with a little easier of a SEC schedule to get things going in the SEC slate?
Yeah, I thought that, there's at this day and age with how good the SEC has become, and I know it's not the gauntlet that it was a couple years ago still, but it's still very, very good. Like that, there is probably no easy SEC schedule at this point. There's just kind of, the lesser of a couple different evils. And I thought that overall Kentucky, didn't turn out terribly with the SEC schedule in terms of who they get to play twice, where some of the games are located. So and you're right, and it's what a lot of people have written about, that if Kentucky's going to make a run at winning the SEC or competing in the top 4, whatever your realistic goals are for this team, it's going to have to start with a run in January. Like if you don't get off to a strong start, and I'm not saying you need to go into the Tennessee game being 6-0, but like if you want to win the league, you probably need to be 5-1 at that point, quite frankly.
Brandon, I think if you're going to win the league, you might need to be 6-0.
Yeah, and that's not unrealistic. I think to say that, because then you look at some of the the stretch really from that point on, but then certainly kind of a gauntlet there in late February or early March with Arkansas at Vandy, Auburn, Texas A&M at Florida. In that stretch you could be looking at playing good basketball and you're going 2-4. So you have to offset that at some point and find the wins as they come. And I think that, for this Kentucky team, that's going to be right off the bat, which, maybe that's a good thing, because maybe that's why we're still healthy and we can rack up some wins at that point. But, it's also, sometimes, especially with teams that are, still gelling a little bit and coming together with a lot of new pieces and haven't played an SEC gauntlet of a schedule yet, that first trip to Oklahoma, that trip to Missouri, like those things can punch you in the mouth. We know that as well as anybody. So, you can't just kind of act like the wins are going to come, but the wins probably do need to come early and often if you're working towards any of the sort of goals that Big Blue Nation is going to have for this Kentucky team.
I mean, if Florida is as dominant as people think they might be, then you probably, if you're going to win the league, you probably can't lose more than 2, really. And by losing 2, I mean, I know, I think Tennessee a couple years ago or a few years ago won the league going 14-4. Maybe that could happen again this season. I mean, do you think Florida's really going to be as dominant as people are saying they're going to be? That's what I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fair question. I mean, I think, it still comes down to just how good their backcourt's going to be once again. I think with, Thomas Houck and some of those guys, you kind of, once again, know what you're going to get from some of the stars in the front court. It's just a question of what they're going to have around those guys. Obviously, Texas is a team with a lot of hype going into the SEC schedule this year too. So yeah, I think that you're looking at a couple of teams where, I wouldn't want to bank on winning the league at 14-4. I think a lot of times just because of the attrition of the schedule. A lot of times it ends up getting a little bit closer to that than what you might kind of mark it down on paper in July. But yeah, I think that it's very possible that a team like Florida could rattle off a 16-2, 15-3 record, and that's where, like you said, if you don't go into that Tennessee game 6-0, you kind of feel like the chances of getting to 15-3 or 16-2 are already sort of behind you if you drop too many games there in that early stretch. So it will, everybody's always going to talk about taking it one game at a time and all that, but it will put some early SEC schedule pressure on Kentucky to take care of business in those games.
Has LSU updated their basketball roster? There's one team that you feel like you ought to be able to win. That's a game you should win because they only have 4 players.
Right now I'm not sure if a game would be played against
what's going
them, at least
on?
with. Yeah, I mean, at least they would require a lot of like injunctions and judges to say that certain people are forced to be allowed to play and all. But yeah, the strategy that Coach Will Wade took, I don't think probably shocked any of us because he's always going to be probably the most brazen person in college basketball. He's going to fly in the face of a lot of the rules and he's going to push the boundaries and kind of make the NCAA tell him no or slap him on the wrist at some point. What I'm surprised by is that when maybe he didn't have some of the success with that strategy early on as he might have thought, I'm surprised that like there hasn't been much of a pivot. Like there seems to be no urgency in like actually filling out a roster. And it's like, dude,
we're like 90 something days away. Are we like,
yeah, well, yeah. And like to the extent that any of this matters in 2026, 2027, like classes probably start in 3 weeks, 4
that's
weeks.
true too.
Like,
yeah,
like you still in theory are supposed to be enrolled as a full-time student in order to play Division I college basketball. So like, I would think within the next few weeks, you're going to need to get your roster to 10 or 12 pieces. And it just is kind of odd that it just seems like he's not too concerned about it. And obviously at this point, aside from just taking a bunch of risks on guys from overseas or just sort of the scraps that are left over, I'm not sure how many exciting pieces are out there other than if you're just still hoping and praying for some the 5 for 5 thing to shift back to the class of 26. Because if it doesn't, I almost feel like
what is he going to do?
He's just stuck holding the bag at this point. It almost feels like. And
could you imagine, Brandon? Imagine if this were Kentucky and what we would be doing right now. We'd be losing our minds. We'd be freaking out.
Yeah,
because
we would be physically like just bringing players to Lexington and just saying, "Hey, Coach Pope, he's on the team now." Yes, I can't even imagine what like the level of angst and just every different emotion would be within Big Blue Nation if we were dealing with even half of what's going on at LSU right now.
Oh yeah, we would all be losing our ever-loving minds. So the other around college basketball, UNLV is up for sale. I know that they addressed that yesterday. Pastner did. That was a weird thing to say, though.
Well,
I get what he's saying. I understand what he's saying, but
I understand what he's saying, and there's some truth to it, and there's some parts of it where I'm like, I'm even a little bit surprised that maybe nobody has done it as directly as he's sort of outlining. That somebody just said, "Hey, I'm rich. Here's $50 million. I want my team to win a championship." Now, the biggest difference between what Coach Pastner is talking about, and he's trying to say like, "Hey, instead of going to spend $8 billion on buying the Las Vegas professional basketball team, I only need $12 million." Well, there's one very big difference to this, Stephen, and that's when you buy an NBA team, you eventually get to sell them for real money.
Yes.
And like, and at least so far in our history, that's always been it's just been a straight line upwards. So if you buy the Las Vegas NBA team for $8 billion in 2027, in 2047 you're going to sell them for 15.7 billion, and you're going to make a bunch of billions in between. And you probably get to pull a salary and all these different things and get health insurance and a car, all this different stuff. Well, like if I donate $12 million to UNLV, the most exciting thing that happens is I win the Mountain West and I get a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament. Like, Is that
Yes.
what I'm giving my $12 million for? And I get nothing. And like, yeah, you might get happiness, you might get access, but I don't actually get anything from it. And there's two things that rich people like. Rich people like to have influence and they like to brag to their friends. This checks that box. But
Yeah.
rich people also like to make money, and that's
They
the
don't
box
get
that
rich
this
by
doesn't check.
giving to this.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, while I understand what he's saying, I think he's missing a very important difference between NBA ownership and college quote unquote ownership, is that there's no financial backing on the back end to college ownership, at least currently. Whereas in the NBA, you would eventually make billions of dollars on the transaction.
That I just thought the whole thing was funny, but it does show like what you brought up. This isn't really sustainable, right? I mean,
Right.
It's exactly what you said. You do get some prestige. People love you because you're helping their favorite team win games. At least if they know that you are a big time donor. But
Right.
rich people didn't get rich by throwing their money away. And it's like, what are you investing in? You're investing in how many wins? How much is 5 more wins worth to you?
Right.
And I don't know that that's going to work in the long term. And we talked at SEC Media Days, and they mentioned that there has been some talk, maybe not super serious, about college, like the big conferences just breaking away and becoming professional leagues. And it's something I've thought like these won't even be students; they'll be employees of the university.
Right.
Do you think in 10 years, do you think that's how we're going to be watching college sports?
I still say no, but I think I mostly just say no because I don't really want that to happen.
Yeah.
And then even when I say I don't want it to happen, I don't know why I don't want that to happen. I think it's just because I just, I'm a normal dude from Indiana that's a Kentucky fan that, like, generally speaking, let's keep things the way that they are, and that's just how I live my life. And whether that's good, bad, or otherwise, like, yeah, there probably would be some benefits to just doing that. Because I mean, heck, then if you broke away and you made it somewhat professional, then you could do what Coach Pastner's talking about, and like you could be the owner of Kentucky men's basketball, and you could buy and sell them just like you buy and sell, Kroger or whatever else down the street. So, I still think that, somewhere in all of this, there's still like an inkling of value placed on college and the student athlete part of everything, and like that would keep us from taking that drastic of a move. But when you consider how different college athletics are from 5 or 6 years ago, like, would that move be more different 5 or 6 years from now than the change we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years? Like, I'm not sure if that's a bigger leap than what we've already taken, quite frankly. So, from that standpoint, sure, I think almost anything at
Would
this
it ruin
point
it for
on
you?
the table.
Would you still enjoy it the same way?
I think so. I always tell you, and I am very black and white when it comes to being a fan. Like, I cheer for the University of Kentucky, and like who's on the team, who we play, whether it's a white out or a blue out, or they, give me something cool for my seats or whatever. Like, I don't really care about any of that. I just want the University of Kentucky to succeed at athletics. And as long as they continue to call it the University of Kentucky, I think I'm going to continue to cheer, at least mostly, for the men's basketball team and the football team. And whether they're professionals, whether they're college students, whether they're, whatever else, like, I think I'll continue to care at a pretty similar level. I at least have so far through all of the given changes. So I would like to think I'll continue to be that same crazy level of fan.
And for you, it really doesn't matter what the home schedule is. You go to
that point,
a lot of home games, most of them actually. Does it disappoint you that there's not like a big marquee team other than Louisville?
So, like, as you and I were sharing our texts, like, obviously, yes, I think it's, you can't really argue that you would like to have a couple marquee home games. I think that, my point is, yes, for my weird self, which isn't the majority of the fan base, I get that. Like, again, I'm just going to show up. I'm going to cheer for the team, whether they play Kentucky State, Kentucky Wesleyan, Western Kentucky, or Duke. Doesn't make a ton of difference to me. I want the basketball team to win the game. Now, I understand from an entertainment standpoint, from a game day atmosphere standpoint, obviously everything is better when you're playing big time teams. And if you could, on a year-to-year basis, re-toggle and reshuffle the contracts so that some things lined up a little bit better, like so that, you know, the IU game was at home or the ACC SEC Challenge game was at home, you know, on the year that Louisville was away, or, you know, whatever it may be, sure. But like, you know, like I said to you earlier today, like all of these contracts get made at different times, then TV gets involved in certain made for TV events. And, you know, like I don't even know if it's hardly possible to really put together the perfect schedule right now. And there's still one slot left, and maybe that'll at least be against somebody decent. I think that there's probably a better chance than not that it is against somebody at least halfway exciting. And I get it from an average fan standpoint. Sure, you would like to play some more marquee games in Rupp Arena. But to me, it just kind of is what it is. As a fan, I would like to think that my primary concern would be the basketball team doing what they think is best for them. And if this is what they think is best for them, then I would hope that ultimately we can all kind of get behind it and cheer for them.
Yeah, and I just, with as tough as the SEC is, I get it. But yeah, it does kind of stink that like you don't really get a huge marquee game at home. I mean, you do get Louisville, and really it's just that the Indiana series and the SEC ACC Challenge just lined up to where they're both away. Otherwise, you would, you know, you'd have maybe Virginia or you'd have Indiana in Rupp Arena. But it's just something to complain about, Brandon, in the offseason. You know, we're a nation of complainers.
Kind of,
that's what we do.
To that point, it's like, well, you know, last year both of those games were at home, so like enjoy that twice as much while it happens, and then just understand that the next year, and then, you know, the following year it'll be back to the same way. Maybe not necessarily with Indiana, but maybe with somebody else. So, you know, there's a give and a take there, and I get it. But you know, as we always say, I also think we wouldn't be talking nearly as much about this if we went to the Final Four last year. So, you know, like
exactly,
just win a bunch of the games.
We're so close.
Yeah, just win a bunch of the games, and all of a sudden, people aren't going to care as much about the schedule.
Yeah, and if they start winning, we'll start complaining about the denim jerseys or whatever the things that we don't like. We'll find something else.
Yeah,
we're good at it.
Or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good at finding things that I don't care for. All right, Brandon, I appreciate you, as always. We'll see you next week on The Takeover. And when we come back, we'll talk with Nick Roush, also of KSR. This is KSR Takeover Tuesday on Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. We'll be right back. That's a mouthful. KSR Takeover Tuesday on Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. That's a lot. I'm actually surprised I didn't mess that up. All right. Nick Roush will be in here in just a moment. We'll talk to him about SEC Media Days a little bit. But what I have other things for Nick Roush. First of all, if you live in Louisville, congratulations. I-65 is opening at midnight. We're all very excited about that. Go to my notes over here. What else? O'Gara predicting 3 wins. That's a bummer. We'll talk about that. And he's not God, so like, what does he know? What are okay, let's see. Oh, and then of course, Nick Roush shooting his shot on Paul Feinbaum's show. That'll be something we're going to talk with Roush about. Man, the 11 personnel guys were all over national media with Roush on Feinbaum, with Luckett everywhere. So we'll talk to Nick about that. And it's J-Bat's first day today as athletic director and CEO. And what do you guys think? Get in the chat here. Let me know, what would you like to see? What's an easy win for J-Bat? Like something he can do right away that would gain some approval from Kentucky fans just right out of the gate. Let me know in the YouTube chat. And then we'll also talk to Nick about TBT. And this has kind of been a bit I've been doing, but I actually enjoy going and watching it, and I'm really excited for the game on Wednesday. And look, I mean, I'll be excited for the game on Sunday. I hope they're playing War Ready because that'll be more fun to have like the Auburn thing. Let the KSR media in practice. So I think to this question here, C. Brody, I think that we're going to be able to do that. I think we're going to get to an open practice for basketball. We keep getting them in football, and we'll be at football media days on Monday. But we haven't had a basketball open practice. I don't think ever. I mean, I would know. I would because I would have shot video of it. Move the student section. I know. I agree, but he's not. It's not going to happen because the what we have to try to do is work with the people who sit there, because then we can maybe like work with them to help with the atmosphere instead of like having to give up their seats. Nick Roush has joined us here, and I'll wait for not Trevor Kelsey to give us the thumbs up that we're back. Hey, Nick. Oh, I can't hear you.
502. What are you talking about, not Trevor? This is Trevor. I've lost weight. I'm booking flop.
The key is make sure you hit the unmute button. I found out.
There you go. That is good.
And the lighting in your office is so nice, Peak. It's almost like you're a video guy or something.
Yeah, I got the big light here.
Is it that one doesn't get that hot, surprisingly. You think it would, you know?
Yeah, it gets hot in here though. And I turn off when I do this. I turn off the AC because it will make noise. So it's not like it was in KS office yesterday. Oh my God.
I wonder if my office is hotter or KS office is hotter. I just have windows
KS
open
office
and
was about
going.
90. It was about 95 degrees in there. I mean, I was just sitting, and by the end of the show, my entire shirt was just soaked in sweat. I didn't appreciate it at all. And we'll have your video up 3:00. Does that work?
Sure.
I might be able to get it done quicker than that. It's
yeah. Just whenever you get it uploaded, just do it. Just fire away. No need on time. It'll just quicker. I can make a post out of it tonight.
Okay.
We had to snag one of mine I used earlier, so I was like, damn it, I was hoping to save that.
All right. Welcome back to Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. It is KSR Takeover Tuesday. We are live on the KSR YouTube stream as well as 96.1 1450. And it's a voice you're probably going to recognize. Nick Roush back on Kentucky Roll Call. How's it going, Nick?
I'm rolling. I'm calling. I didn't do the roll call thing, though, because I blame Trevor for it. You know? It's all
Why? What
Trevor's
happened?
fault. Because he didn't give me the thing, you know? He didn't give me the sign.
Oh, okay. Skinny Trevor.
Yeah, not other Trevor. Wait, there's that.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
Wait, we have two Trevors now?
We got two of them.
Oh,
We have
gosh.
two Trevor Kelseys.
If you've got two Trevors, you've got none. And you know what? I guess that's better, right? I guess I'd rather have no Trevors than two. Sounds like a nightmare.
He'll have to unmute himself to talk.
Trevor morphed into two Trevors. He just split. He had so much Arby's and Taco Bell one day, he just split into two. And now you have this version, and you have the skinnier one with like less of a goatee going.
It's basically if Cyclospora became human.
Yeah. Like I've learned that I can't procreate with the actual woman, so I've just gone like the worm path and just split.
You're a seahorse. You're a seahorse. You're just
What'd you call me?
you're reproducing by yourself. Oh man,
horse. My bad.
Good clean fun. Good clean fun.
I always love when we can have you on here, Roush, to interact with Trevor.
Here's the thing I love about Nick is that. So Nick, yesterday you're Roush. Yesterday Peak, I get my KSR host mixed up nowadays. Yesterday Peak went on a limb and was like claimed that Kentucky would start like 19-1 in basketball. I think it was 32-0 or something in the end. I don't remember what the exact score was.
40-0, Trevor.
40-0, but he legitimately said like 19-1.
I said it's possible they could be 19-1 by January 29th.
All right, this is sports, not politics. You don't have to backtrack. You said 19-1. So initially as I do.
No, I'm agreeing with you. It's 19-1 through their 20 games.
So as I do as a Louisville fan on KRC with the hosts that say outlandish things, back to our draft bet, I said, okay, let's make a little, a bet, a polar pop at Thornton's on the line. Those good people at Thornton's who power our YouTube feed over on the Big X big YouTube feed. I said, I will bet you at the end of the season, Louisville will have less losses than UK. And you know what this dude said? He said, Brock, and ran away. I mean, now here's the thing.
That's a bad bet. They play in the ACC, Nick.
Here's the thing. Roush, my man Roush, I know Roush. Roush Southside would have come out the south side of him and been like, really? Really? You want to bet? I'll not only bet you a Thornton's drink, I bet you the loser gets shoved in a locker, and he'll do it with a smile because he's pro bowling like
I mean, we might as well say, will Murray State have less losses? Like, I mean, I like they're playing in different conferences.
Murray State was going to go 19-1?
And they've done it before. Done it a few times.
I mean, but Peak, if you think that they're going to be 19-1, that's like most of their hard games are over with at that point.
No.
In one of those
the back
losses,
half of the SEC schedule stuff.
I mean,
they're going to have a losing record in the SEC.
And I said they will lose they'll have less than 4 losses by January. I just said it's possible they could be 19-1, but I would see it more likely to be like 18-2, 17-3.
I disagree with you, but just logically speaking, I would consider that because they're going to start slow, so slow that they don't want anybody to see what their team looks like at all. It's a secret. Nobody watched because we suck still. And is that game at Rupp this year?
Which one?
Kentucky Louisville.
Oh yeah.
Because
Nick, how old were you in 2008?
Oh, I was. I could not drive a car. I did not have my license yet. Yeah.
Wow, you couldn't drive the last time Louisville won a basketball game in Lexington, a men's team. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I could dunk. I could slam dunk it, but I couldn't drive.
You could dunk the last time. That's crazy.
That was the year Tony Kimbrough Jr. dunked on me. I know. There you go. There's a name from the past, Trevor. Well, Tony Kimbrough action.
The fact you said junior makes me feel even older because I remember his dad.
That's the only time I ever got it was pump fake, go to the rim, and just whack. I mean, it was okay. 2008, long time ago. See, that's why Pete. If you're so confident that Kentucky's going to have less than 4 losses going into the home stretch, you just take that bet because then you know that Kentucky's going to give Louisville one of them. They're probably going to have some dumb non-conference loss. I am admittedly unaware of Louisville's non-con schedule. I don't think that Tennessee game is on the docket anymore.
We've also played Texas Tech.
And Oregon or St. John's. They're in that Las Vegas tournament.
Okay.
They'll play Texas in the SEC ACC Challenge.
Yeah. I mean,
our schedule's not easy.
I wouldn't make that bet, but Peak, if you're that confident, you should. You put in multiple polar pops. You got to go for it.
Ooh.
Because if there's one thing Pat Kelsey has taught us over the years, it's that he is going to let you down in big games, right? Like that game can.
Yeah, but they don't play enough big games. They don't play
exactly. So just lose 4 of them, and you're good, right?
I don't think Kentucky's
going to talk about his uncle Jeff Brom like this.
I think that Kentucky will lose some games in the back part of that SEC schedule. I think it's very, very possible to lose at Texas. Very possible to beat Alabama or lose to Alabama. I don't think Mark Pope has had much luck against them. At Tennessee, I mean, eventually they gotta get it.
No. That's automatic W. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. I mean, first Arkansas will be tough, but it's at home.
No,
although
Arkansas is bad this year. My SEC hot take is that like Vanderbilt might be the second best team.
It might be. And you got to go at Vandy, host A&M, Buckyball, and then you got to go at Florida, the last game of the season. So you do luck out that you don't have to play Florida twice. That is good. What are the double dips this year? Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and who else?
Ole Miss, I believe.
Ole Miss. Man, that's kind of boring. Why? Okay.
Anyway. I also don't know, like, Ole Miss, are they going to be good Ole Miss? Or are they going to be bad Ole Miss? I haven't.
Chris Beard, who knows?
Right. Like, it's a little. So because they were really good that first year, really bad that second. So it's hard to gauge.
I think Kentucky can go 13-5 in the SEC. But that means
that's 6 that's
19-1 is like they could. I'm saying that they will go they'll go 17-3. So now you're at 8 losses. I don't know that Louisville gets 8 losses. I mean, there are 8 losses on that schedule. They'd have to go like 0 for 3 in Vegas.
Hold on, let me.
I don't know. We get a chance to watch them today, right, Trevor? We can take a look at how good they are.
We won't be able to see it.
Right.
Unfortunately, the people of Bahamas have banned us from airing it because of I think it's a political reason. I don't know. It's something to do with paper towels and what.
You know what it is, Trevor? Is you can't have international streams with Bahamas raw talent. That's just
I think the Bahamas are trying.
I mean, what's he going to do? What does Pat Kelsey not want us to see? They're going to shoot 43s. They're going to get the rebound, one pass up ahead, and somebody's going to shoot a 3. Oh, I mean, can you not scout this easier? Can it not be any easier to scout that?
I don't know if you can put it. I don't know if it's on Pat Kelsey. There's no definitive reason or person that we have our blame to throw it and individually, but there are. You can maybe say Pat Kelsey. I lean more towards. Apparently, when they aired them back in, what is it, like 2 years ago, and Doster and them went down there and did it for Floyd Street, and the AC Network was not happy with that. From what I'm hearing, I've heard, and I think this is more of an ACC network. Which, by the way, I heard you talking to Tyler about this. In case you are wondering, on the AC Network, currently airing right now.
Yeah.
Talk about let them eat cake. They're showing the Louisville football win over Miami. Until 3:00. And then at 3:00, they're going to show AC Huddle Louisville. So, I mean, I guess that's a way of being like,
in for that.
Yeah, well, I DVR'd it. For,
well, here's natural segue. Mark Pope, sometimes he says things that I disagree with, and I'm like, why would you say that? But other times I'm shouting from the mountaintop, oh, my God, this makes so much sense. Just do it. And when he teased a couple weeks ago that they were working on something, try to do this summer.
Yeah.
It's why do we make these teams go to a ballroom in the Bahamas to play summer games?
Yeah.
It makes no freaking sense. Just play it here. In the revenue sharing era, you need to find ways to make more money. There was a time peak when they would sell those like travel packages where they could make some money, but it was very nominal, right? I mean, you can only get 500 fans to Atlantis to go,
right?
And then eventually that shtick kind of wears off, and it costs so much money.
And you're not playing anybody any good. Global Jam was way better as far as like competition goes.
I want to understand the package to go to this if you're a Louisville fan, which it originally did include the 2 games, was I think $4,000.
Yeah, that's just insane. Why if you play the games at Freedom Hall? And you have your Peaks Commonwealth Cup state tournament, whatever you want to call it. You get eight teams playing, 2 games a day over 4 days. I don't know. My math's bad. But the biggest part of all of this is not just attendance. Well, first and foremost, it's a lot cheaper for them to just make this happen instead of going over there. You can sell more tickets, but the other part too, look what Duke is doing where they're trying to sublease their games and do like the Amazon Prime only. Streamers will buy this up.
Yep.
And I don't know the legalities, and Trevor said that they didn't like it. Well, it's like, well, they didn't like it. They didn't get over it. Like they're letting Duke get away with it, right? So I think that the whole that Feast Week tournament they're trying to do. That doesn't seem to be going all too from a logistical standpoint. Just doing the summer league, I think that's when you can make the most money off of it and get the most eyeballs on it. Because right now, what are we going to do? We're
watching TBT. What are you talking about? We're locked in on TBT.
We've said the same thing, Nick, on Rutherford Show, till our faces turn, lack of a better term, blue. That if you even charge $20 for this game, you're going to get probably 1,000 Louisville fans buying it at least, at minimum, maybe. I mean, and there's no way. I mean, even if not more, especially for 2 games. I mean, I'd buy it for $20. I know multiple people. I know a lot of people that would do it. Now, I am worried about what you mentioned with Duke because, and this is all disrespect to Duke. They can suck it. If they think Duke fans are going to buy it, I'm worried that this is going to lead to U of L and UK maybe going somewhere down the line doing this because they're going to figure out very soon. If people are going to pay to watch Duke games on an Amazon streaming site, they're going to get 3 times as many people paying to watch U of L and UK games. Our fan base dwarfs theirs when it comes to the wackiness of willing to pay and do anything to see us play. I mean, we spent a week complaining about a game against Bahamas, a team who had to cancel their second game because 3 of the starters took a job at the other hotel down the road. Right? So, and we're complaining about that. Think about any other game. We'll pay. We will pay. We will, sadly, but true.
I just had another idea. Red River Rivalry is at the Texas State Fair.
Red River Shootout. Get it right.
Kentucky versus Louisville in the middle of the Kentucky State Fair at Freedom Hall.
Ooh. I don't know. The 1980s people looking for glory at free concerts in Cardinal Stadium are not going to be happy you're getting into their attendance.
I mean, just so much cigarettes and caramel corn. I mean,
oh man, just a flashback to my childhood
when they had the peak. Did you ever see the rooms, like the smoking rooms that they had there?
Yes. Yep.
Like a hellscape. It was just cloud.
Were you old enough were they still around when you were there, or how old were you in the smoking? Because I was old enough to go into the smoking room, and it was at a point near the end where people would be lined up down like the aisle and like just to try to get into this room. And they were just like, we were all like just bleeding. Everybody's just in the hallway smoking cigarettes because the door's open. There's so much smoke coming out of there. Like Cheech and Chong are like, what the hell's going on?
You wouldn't even need to light up. You just breathe.
Just walk in there.
Just breathe.
The last place I was ever at that had a smoking venue or offered still was Pacer games. They have outdoor, they're outdoor like little balconies you can go out to, and still smoke.
I've seen those at other stadiums.
Yes, I think that's the few that do allow it, but most places you're outdoors. I was at a Bengals game and got reprimanded by security for smoking a cigarette outdoors. They're like, "We need your ticket stub. We have to mark it. If you get caught again, you're kicked out." I'm like, that's all right. I have 2 tickets on me. So I was like,
yeah, perfect. All right, I'm going to get to some text in the text line here. This one I actually said I'm saving for Roush. We talked about with Luckett about if Kenny Minchie's good, then Kentucky could actually be pretty good, is what he said. One of the texts says, does it not concern you that Kentucky's starting quarterback is a junior who has only thrown 30 attempts in his career? Nick Roush?
No.
Yeah.
Like, college football is different now. Right now, Tennessee is considering rolling out a true freshman who's never started. I would be much more concerned about that. Same thing with Jared Curtis at Vanderbilt. Eventually, these guys are going to figure it out. Now, would I be more concerned if this was I would be concerned if it wasn't coming from Mike Denbrock's system at Notre Dame and he lost out to CJ Carr, who's the preseason Heisman favorite. Like, that's where I can't be too flustered. Now, I think the part that like we all have to remember in the back of our minds for like it applies to specific situations. So like generally speaking, I think Minchie is going to be good. The part where this is an issue is late game situations for both him and Will Stout. First time starting quarterback, first time head coach. There is going to be a doy moment. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know if it's failing to spike it, using your timeout at the wrong time, taking a sack. Like, there is going to be something that happens this year. It's probably like Minchie thinking he can do more with his legs to get away from pressure than he actually can. But there's going to be a moment in one of these close games, in a winnable game that could be a huge upset, where things go wrong. Like, just bookmark it and remember it. That doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. That's just like a growing moment for the future. Because I do think, like, the way I laid it out with what Kenny Minchie's ceiling is, in my mind, there was a year where it was the quarterback play probably wasn't as good, but Will Rogers from Mississippi State was third team All-SEC because he just put up silly numbers in a great system. I think that's like the ceiling of what you can hope for with Minchie is that the system, the quarterback, the coach, everything clicks, and he's in consideration as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Will that happen right away? Probably not. But I do think a year from now, when we're at SEC Media Days, they'll be talking about Minchie as one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Really?
Yeah.
Now you have high expectations, and I don't know which take is crazier. Maybe it was my 18-2 start to the basketball season, or maybe it was you on Feinbaum calling out and shooting your shot again. Kentucky's beating Alabama. You're confident about that. I mean, are Alabama fans in your mentions at all?
No. They're
because they're doing
probably,
what But Luckett was saying those other SEC fans, they talk down to us. When we go to their place, they're just like, "Oh, it's so nice you guys are here." I'm ready for that stuff to be done. And if they can come out and win September 12th, that'll get people's attention.
I think some of it is there just it's like poking a dead person at the end of Stand By Me, one of Trevor's favorite movies. That Rose Bowl loss just emasculated them to such a degree that I don't know if anything will register a pulse for them. So I think that's part of it. And the other part too is they probably their copium is probably saying, well, we like this, right? We're the underdog. We get to play. We never got to play the underdog card with Saban. Now they do. Now they actually do.
Hotter take: Kentucky beats Alabama, or what I'm saying, Louisville will beat Ole Miss. And also, I think Ole Miss is going to have like a 7-win season. I think they're going to be down this year. I'm not buying into it.
Man, that's. I think mine might be a little bit spicier on the surface level because Kentucky has not been good in recent years, and Alabama was just in the playoff. I do think that Louisville Ole Miss game is fascinating because Louisville's going to look so different than they've ever looked under Brom. I mean, they're going to be playing Stoops ball, running the football, right? Like they're going to run it 40 or 50 times a game, and if they're not. Yeah, like if they're not, then something's gone horribly wrong because that's the strength of their team. But like Ole Miss should, from a just purely like look at the stars, they should be much better than Alabama. Should be. They give me some like South Carolina vibes from a year ago. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. The only difference is just like. Because I want Pete Golding to be good because he was fun at SEC Media Days, but like the way that team was set up for him to succeed and to still have the play caller, like how good is this new play caller going to be? I don't know. I know they've got Chambliss back and he's awesome, but like, do you have enough? So, yeah, I think mine's spicier on the surface level, but I do think Louisville should be in that game. The thing that makes me happiest about it's the Sunday game. I love the Sunday Labor Day weekend games. I think
it's the early game too. There's a trio of games that day. I think we're like the noon or 2 o'clock, maybe we're the 7 o'clock. I can't remember. There's trio of games that day. I know that.
When you grow up being the Louisville Kentucky Labor Day Sunday, those are my favorite games. Just stand alone.
Yeah.
Sit back, relax, enjoy all the football.
Yeah, like
Saturday's usually get one good one on Saturday night, but like,
what's on the
LSU should be the crap out of Clemson this year.
I think I'd be interested to see again. Obviously, with Louisville, it comes every year. The question is, and you're talking about Minchie as a question at quarterback. It's going to come down to obviously with Louisville, how good will Lincoln be? I mean, will we get Miller Moss? Will we get Tyler Shuck? Will he be? If he's Tyler Shuck, then yeah. By the way, this joke fell flat to Mike yesterday. After we're done with them. He'll be the most hated man named Lincoln in Mississippi. Oh, come on. That's a good history joke.
We get it.
Yeah, but the delivery it wasn't there, Trevor. Nice try. The thing is with Conholtz, he just
suck.
All right, Trevor. If I told you that he was Will Levis, are they good enough around him that that's fine? Because he gives some strong Will Levis.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so because, like you just pointed out, with that running game now, the receiving core obviously is a question mark.
Yeah.
But if Trey Richardson can stay healthy and be kind of that Tutu Atwell role where Satterfield would love to do was be run the ball like 9 times and then try to catch you like 4. Yeah. He would try to catch you 3 or 4 times with that big play over the top. The problem is Malik had no arm, so he would miss them all 3 times. And then you would kind of be stuck in a 14-10 game. So,
I mean, Levis just had Wandale. Like, he just threw it to Wandale Robinson 100 times. It was like,
Trey Richardson's as good as Wandale Robinson. I'd be really happy. I mean,
I don't think he is. He's more of a like north-south guy. So like, hit a couple deep balls, he'll be fine. But I'm just because it's so weird that like Jeff hasn't had the badass, no doubt quarterback.
Shuck was good. I mean, it was.
Yeah, Shuck was good. Shuck is going to be good in the NFL. But even then, they kind of got him at a discount rate. right?
Because of injuries. Yeah.
Damaged goods. So like that part's been fascinating to me.
The problem I've learned about Lincoln though is that supposedly arm strength is an issue with him, which what we're talking about seems to be the one thing you don't want to be an issue with him, because you want to be able to hit the deep ball and go over top and make those.
So he's got popcorn muscles. He's got those big arms and he can't throw it through a piece of plywood.
Brian had the T-Rex arms, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, he turned out pretty decent.
How good are you all expecting Louisville to be this year?
Honestly, with what Uncle Jeff has done, Nick's uncle, the minimum is 8 wins right at this point. I mean, I still think, and look,
is it like a disappointment if you don't get the playoffs? I mean, you're saying 8 wins would be the minimum?
I would be semi-disappointed if we're not going into the last couple weeks of the season with an ACC title game possibly on the line.
The hard part is they're doing things differently. And the biggest thing that nobody's talking about is
them being the ACC.
No, Louisville. Because like it's just this is a different kind of team than what Jeff has rolled out in the past. That DC hire, man, that was there was a lot of games won last year because of that defense, and it was much better than anybody expected. Then you let the DC walk, and you just promote from within.
Well, he left to go watch his kid play in college.
Yeah, and just
I know he's third string at Army and hasn't played in 2 years, but there's a shot he could get on the field this year.
But like,
keep hope alive.
Ron English was a dead man walking, and then he kind of saved the season, and then he just leaves, and you got nobody lined up. So that's iffy. And then Isaac Brown, is he going to pull Michael Brown? You got to get your Browns right, man. Get your Browns right, Trevor.
And we got Kenyon Brown, too. We got two Brown and Brown. We come at you twice as much. We got more Brown than Taco Bell lettuce.
The show's already over with, and we're just getting cooking. One day, you'll just have to have me in longer, Peak, so I can roast Trevor.
Yeah, you got to come to the studio one time.
Yeah, you were invited to come on last week, but I'm sorry, what was it, Peak? His throat hurt too much from yelling while drinking down in Tampa?
No, his throat hurt. I don't know.
His throat hurt, yeah.
Yeah,
we can see you winking, Nick. This isn't radio, dude. What is? It isn't.
Trevor, are you still doing overtime after this?
Actually, I'm gonna do the. Trevor's kind of hungry, so we're gonna do a replay of the first segment. So Trevor can go grab some tacos.
All right. First segment of Kentucky Roll Call with Adam Luckett coming up here on Big X Sports Radio. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Nick Roush, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be in studio to preview the big matchup between the Kentucky alumni and the Kansas alumni. It all comes down to this. We'll see you then. Thanks for listening.